Coming up on the Social Grenade podcast with Jenna K.
In order for them to do that, you also have to build trust with your fans and your fan base or your audience or whatever it is. I personally like to call the people who support me online and in person, I call them chaotics. The way that I write, I find, is a little bit more unique than a lot of people in Nashville. Country writers, there's a specific way that you have to write country. It's more simplistic and you have to follow a specific rhyme scheme. Whereas in pop, you can kind of do anything. And the way that I write music is on personal experiences, specifically with this new EP that's coming out. It's called Smart Sass, not Smart Ass, but it's basically taking the word smart ass and taking the word sassy and putting it together. So I had 1 week to write songs after I got signed. I came up with 21 songs in 1 week, which is a lot. One of the things that I was told when I started singing is that you're going to start sounding like everybody else when you start mimicking people. And once you know actually how to sing, you'll discover your actual voice.
So do you do it on your phone or on paper?
I personally like to do it on my phone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those handwritten pieces that are in a journal somewhere are just gold down the road, right? They're crossed out of this word and that word, and you're rethinking the whole thing and moving this thing around. Those things are gold. Hey, welcome to the Social Grenade Show. Today I have a special guest. If y'all know, or if we're in this space right here, in the automotive world, Steve Rustler's daughter, Jenna K, is a country star. And she is starting her career, singer, songwriter, all kinds of fun stuff. Steve even actually moved the entire family to Nashville so that he could, facilitate, him and his wife could help facilitate Jenna's career and be there for her and all his support. I'm so excited because as a parent, of somebody that you're raising up to be more than what they want, these big dreams, and you want them for them too, and everything that you can do to 100% facilitate is just amazing. So welcome, Jen. I'm so glad you're here today.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here as well.
So let's go back to the beginning. So when did you start writing songs?
I started writing music when I was actually a little kid. I did I don't know if you've ever heard of parodies, but I would write songs either for my friends or for myself. I remember writing a parody to Piece by Piece for my friend who was in love with some guy, and all of it started there. And I started crafting lyrics and everything, and then I started moving that more towards ukulele. And I've always been inspired by pop music, and so I do pop music now, but I did a lot of ukulele, and then it kind of switched towards piano, then it switched towards the guitar. But during all that time of me trying to discover my creative outlet, I was also in musical theater. And I was originally going for musical theater as a major for college. I got into NYU and I got into Belmont. I chose to be in Nashville because we decided we would rather move to Nashville and just see how it works after I went to a convention. And I originally went for, like I said, acting, and I got callbacks for everything except acting. And I was really confused why. But then I met with one of my first persons who was a producer of a label, and he said, I saw your YouTube page, which is very cringe, at least at the time it was. And he was like, you have potential. Why aren't you doing that more? And I said, I don't know. So then when I went back to St. Louis and I was a junior in high school, I started to take songwriting more seriously, to the point where I was bringing my guitar to school, and any study hall I had, I would be writing songs, perfecting my craft. And I learned that this is something I wanted to do over musical theater. And even though I do still have that love for musical theater, I love to bring that part inside of me out whenever I'm on stage. So I love to be more theatrical with my, whether it's my songwriting, my emotions, and also my style of what I bring on stage. That's why I use the bows and the boots to now make me, because I love the ironicy in both of those things, pairing the more innocent side with the more grungy side and making it more colorful.
That's funny, the bows thing. That to me. So my daughter-in-law came over at Christmas time, and she had one of those big hair clips, and it had these big bows on each side of it. And you'd have to know her well enough to know that like this is not something that she would normally wear. And I just kept staring at her head going, well, what is that? What's on your hair clip? And she goes, it's bows. And I'm like, it just seems a little innocent for
I'm telling you, bows are making a comeback. So
they must
I
be.
want to be the representation of bows for sure.
I love that. Let's talk about the songwriting part of it because I think that's if anybody goes to Nashville, they know that there's so much talent there. That the girl that's singing on that little platform while you're eating a sandwich at a cafe is stunningly gorgeous, wonderfully talented, and she got the lunch slot. So that lets you know like how much talent is out there, and the people are just fighting for everything that they can get. And I think, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think the ones that are smart about it business wise are the ones that are using social as their platform and they're like getting as much out there as they can on social media. And since we are a social media company, like that's the thing I want to go. I discovered Teddy Swims. Probably he had an EP rollout like maybe 21 but I discovered him on TikTok. Like I found him in 2021 on TikTok, and I was just like, I don't know who this guy is, but like his music is amazing. And I would have never, I don't listen to the radio. Like I'm usually listening to audiobooks or podcasts or whatever, but like I loved his music so much then. And I was just like, this guy has got something. And the fact that he used social to get it out there during a time when we were all tuned into social anyway. So now we've retrained an entire group of people, not even a generation, a whole world of people who during lockdown had nowhere to go for entertainment except for social media, TikTok or Facebook Reels or whatever. And so now if talent is not using that platform, they're really missing out. And I think that they've got it, whatever you're doing for everybody listening, 10x it. Like you're not doing enough. I can promise you that. You're not going live enough. You're not pushing enough content out there because we look at Jenna, like let's say that for example, you have 5,000 followers on any platform, right? And then you go look at your views after you've made something. Let's say that's on Facebook, and the views were like 1,500 out of your 5,000. And some of them will be views that weren't even your 5,000. But look at that 3,500 people that saw nothing. They didn't get it. That didn't get served up to them. And so the Facebook algorithm or the Instagram algorithm or the TikTok algorithm isn't pushing it to everybody. And sometimes it's pushing to people that are not even following you. And so more is always the answer. And so like, do you have a strategy around social?
I started working more towards my socials last year actually. I started taking it a lot more seriously. I went through a really hard time in my life where I struggled a lot of mental health, and um during like after I got over that, I started to work more towards my career, and social media is the biggest way to find your people, your gang, and to relate with people. I'm actually live right now, and so going live is one of the ways where you can really interact with people on a more personal level and really see who they truly are. I try to be as realistic as I can be because I think that's only fair for people to see. And with social media, I started posting once every single day just so I can get the hang of it. But now in 2026, I'm starting to post twice a day. And I know people who post 4 times a day, and it can get exhausting. And so trying to find a balance is really important. And balance for everybody is different. So it looks different for everyone. I started moving it to twice a day because I have to now have a social media team behind me. Editing and posting can take up a lot of your time, and
Mhm.
it's good to have a good support system behind you, whether that's a marketing team or whether that's friends or whatever. Um, my boyfriend is actually a videographer, so sometimes he helps me out. Like,
Right.
it's good to have a good team behind you, especially when you're in the music industry, depending on what you want to do. And specifically, if you have a business at all, having that social media team behind you
Epic BDC is a proud sponsor of the Social Grenade podcast. Tune in.
to support you, but also find that balance of, okay, I can do this as a job,
Right.
is really important.
I think it is too. It's one of the things that, and not to have like some sort of generational war, but I think that your generation is more comfortable with all of it than like my generation or even the one after that. And so, one of the things that everybody struggles with is like, how much do I let in, right? What do I show? Do I show everything, the good, bad, the ugly?
Oh yeah. And like growing up with social media, for us that's the norm, but for people who are older than me, it is probably not the normal for them because it's very hard to like break down your walls and show who you really are. So I definitely understand that.
Right. It's not. And it's not the norm for us. So it's like the things that, I mean, I always joke with my daughter and go, you know what? Thank God that, I mean, I didn't grow up with social media because the things that I did as, I don't know, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 were probably, they were not fit for other people to consume. And I'm really grateful that that wasn't part of my childhood. But for the rest of everybody who grew up with a device in their hand and like grew up with thinking everybody should watch what I do and listen to everything I say, it's got to be, I think it's got to be a lot of pressure on that generation. But then now when we look at it and go, now I'm expected to put out this level, like we have our own, myself, Beverly, and Shasta have our own person in office also just maintains our socials, not our company social, our personal brand out there too. And for me, it's no big deal, believe it or not. Like I think everything I do is content. I think behind the scenes, I think, whenever I got a sty in my eye and everything in my eye just swelled up and sunk down, and I was supposed to speak in 3 days, I was posting that crap on Facebook going, somebody have an answer to this because I look like a horrible monster. Please help me. I have to speak in 2 days. Give me whatever it is.
But
And those
it's
pictures are so like,
real.
oh,
Like people
yeah.
get styes, like people get like bruises, or they also they get acne. Like it's a normal thing, and posting it online makes you seem like a real person, and that's
Yeah.
what people connect with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that you're becoming social or knowing that you got to turn that volume up because I think that the ones that win that game are the ones who win the download race because that's what you want, right? You want the
Mhm.
download race win. Like, and you have to tell your audience what you want them to do. When I talk to people about social all the time, like you can just post something, but if you want your audience to do something, you have to tell them what you want them to do because otherwise all you're going to get is a like. And
Yeah.
if there isn't a call to action, we don't know what you want from us. And we're here
Mhm.
to support you. But if you don't tell me, hey, go check out my latest video at blah, 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 and download this song at blah, 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 then we don't know that you want us to do that. And if that's
Right.
the thing that pushes you to the next level, then that's the thing that I would go, oh, don't forget to do that thing.
Right. And in order for them to do that, you also have to build trust with your fans and your fan base or your audience or whatever it is.
Mhm.
And I personally like to call like the people who support me online and in person, I call them chaotics. So Jenna K, chaotics.
Like it.
And so getting them involved in something and making them feel special because everybody that is in my audience, I want them to feel special and included.
Mhm.
Putting them as a kind of like calling them my fans as the chaotics, I feel like is more inclusive that way. But
Mhm.
you do have to build trust with like your audience as well.
I agree 100%. So back to your songwriting. Is there a process to that? Like, so like, I know a few songwriters that like never are anywhere without their little notepad and pen that they always write in their journal or whatever it is that they
Hmm.
use to capture the snippets,
Yeah.
those little snippets. And like, is that in your wheelhouse too? Like it may just be a sentence and you're like, this is a sentence and this just rings true to something and it may evolve into something and it may not.
So the way that I write, I find is a little bit more unique than a lot of people in Nashville, um, because I am pop. There's a lot more country writers here, and country writers, there's a specific way that you have to write country. It's more simplistic, and you have to follow a specific rhyme scheme. Whereas in pop, you can kind of do anything, and the way that I write music is on personal experiences, specifically with this new EP that's coming out. I wrote about personal experiences that happened to me during that really dark time in my life last year. But after I fully processed them, I decided to take it and make fun of it. And that's why it's called Smart Sass, not Smart Ass. But it's basically taking the word smart smart ass and taking the word sassy and putting it together. So I'm putting a sassy twist on things that happened to me last year, or the year before that. Just all these personal experiences, like getting rumors spread about me, or going through a hard breakup, being a messy person. And I wrote about the real things and real raw emotions. But with songwriting, the way that I wrote, especially with those songs, I had 1 week to write songs after I got signed. And through that week, I was basically writing nonstop. And I came up with 21 songs in 1 week, which is a
Wow.
lot. And then we had to sit down and just go through them all. But the way that I look at songwriting, after I fully processed an emotion, I like to think about a lot of imagery. Um, for one of my songs, for example, I Don't Know Her is a more ballad song. And I talked about the emotion and the feeling, because the song is about how people like all of the rumors that people have said about me in Nashville. And I talked about it with a very close friend of, close writer friends of mine. And one of the sayings that like people say is like, I don't know if you've heard this, like, Rover, I barely know her. And so, or something like with ER at the end, I barely know her. And so we decided to make it super witty and put like all of the things that people said, and then like, I don't even know her on there. Um and we wanted to make it as like fun as possible, but also making fun of those emotions,
Mhm.
and just the situations. Most of the time there's a road down here and it's called Concord Road. Anytime I go down that road, there's always some like random word that comes to me, and it always happens to be the song that does well for me. And so
Right.
I trust that road with my life. But it usually happens after I process an emotion, which is very odd for me.
Hmm. Well, there, like your inspiration comes in that area. So it's like just going back to that familiar. Sometimes, like that people talk about deja vu and it's really
Mhm.
it's smell oriented. Like a smell will bring a memory back. And then you're like, oh my God, I'm thinking about this thing again. It's like a real deja vu. And they talk
Right.
about that. And so your sense is probably something optic that triggers that. I have to go to that part of my brain right here when I'm right here. And
Oh, yeah.
that's really kind of cool. Yeah. So I see that you're petting. You have a puppy outside.
I do. I do. My dog, his name is City.
Oh,
He's out here with me, and he's definitely my tried and true. He's a big boy. He's 120 pounds for a dog. But he's a golden retriever. Here he is. I'll show you him.
The I'm a Car Chick podcast is a proud sponsor of the Social Grenade podcast. Listen now.
City.
oh, big old sweetie. Hi, buddy. Hi,
Yes.
City. What are you doing? Oh, that's
He is so
awesome.
sweet. But he was supposed to come to New York City with me when I was supposed to move there, and that's why we call him City, because he was going to be my city dog. But now we're in Nashville City, so
I
it
love it.
works.
It's funny because I don't even know why, like, and I've listened to your music. And so in my mind, I'm going to tell you, like, it was what you letting me know that you were pop is really kind of a mind cramp for me because in my mind, you're in Nashville. And I think about like, I'm not that everyone wants to compare you to Taylor Swift, but I think about when Taylor Swift went to Nashville and
Mhm.
really started in the country genre and then moved out to pop, and changed her genre in the middle of that. And I don't know that she changed her genre a lot, other than it just got defined as to what it was.
Yeah.
And I think that the assumption that you are in Nashville, therefore you should be country, is probably a misnomer for a lot of us.
Yeah, I mean, Nashville technically is the South. And so, like, a lot of people are going to say that, like, a lot of country is down here. But I
Mhm.
like to think of it as, like, a melting pot of just a ton of different music, because there's so many people that are coming down here now that are more than country. Like, you get R&B, you get rap. I literally heard rap the other night at a concert, or at a show that I was at playing. And it was like, so bizarre, but it also like let me know that there is more than just country down here.
Right.
And I think that's what I also want to educate people, is that there's a ton of pop, and it's really hard to find pop in Nashville. Though there is a community, but once you find that community, you're set. Like,
Right.
um and but it's really neat because when you get down here, there's a ton of different people. There's like rock, country, R&B, pop,
Mm.
rap, everything. So when you go to
Yeah,
Nashville, you never know what you're gonna get.
yeah, it's really just overcoming that stigma. Like back when it was country and western, it wasn't just
Yeah.
country music; it was country and western. So and so now thinking about it with new eyes, looking at it with new eyes, that it's Music City. It's
Hmm.
Music City. It's not country
Yeah.
music city. It's Music City.
Right. And especially when I moved down here, I was very intimidated because as a pop singer, I was like, how am I going to fit in? But
Yeah.
like really, Nashville's a hot topic right now, especially to move in. And it's an amazing place to be. So if you ever get a chance to come down here, even if it's just for a trip, it's an amazing experience just to like see the city life and also experience the independent artists who are working their tails off and
Yeah.
supporting them. It's really important.
I love it. It's one of my favorite cities, and I have some that are not favorite. Like with a gun to my head, you can't make me probably go back to New Orleans ever. I'm not a huge fan of Chicago. For all of you guys listening and going, Chicago, I don't feel safe there is the deal. It has nothing to do with whether they have great things. I mean, my good friend Brooke Furnace lives in Chicago, and she loves that city more than anything. And I'm like, they had the Chicago Auto Show one year, and I had to get off of the train somewhere and then come up and hope that I was in the right neighborhood when I came out of that basement underground with my luggage. And I didn't come up with the right spot. And I was like calling an Uber going, meet me at the Social Security office. Like, this is where I'm at. And there's just some areas that I don't, but when I think about how I feel about a town or a city, if I could go there all by myself and have a good time, that's how I feel about it. And I feel like that about Nashville.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
absolutely feel like I could go there all by myself, have a great time, feel safe, not feel like icky, like I shouldn't probably go here or there. Like, I don't feel like that about Nashville at all. I love it there. It's one of my favorite places.
Yeah, I love that it's and there's a lot of like law enforcement here, so I do usually feel safe, especially down on Broadway. There's a lot of police who are always like making sure everything's okay. And even though it is insane down there, especially on the weekends, but I usually do feel safe and anybody can have a good time in Nashville.
I'm going to tell you okay, this sounds ridiculous to anybody who hasn't been to Nashville, but the Freebird store,
Oh
if you make
yeah.
it into the Freebird store, it's one of my favorite places to go. They have a really nice bar. They make a great espresso martini in this shoe store. And they have a little stage at the back, but they have this little manager there. I love him. He is amazing. And he has his own TikTok channel where he interviews people on the street, like on Broadway on Friday and Saturday nights. And he is adorable. And I stop in and say hello to him every time I can. We like
Aw.
just chat about stuff. I buy a pair of shoes if I must. But I mean, it's silly. And that people don't understand. The Taco Bell has a bar and a bandstand down on Broadway.
Oh
Like
yeah.
they serve alcohol in the Taco Bell. And
Yep.
so it's just music, 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 so much music that making a decision on whether to go in and listen to this person or go listen to that person is so hard as a
Mhm.
consumer. Who are you going to, go and consume tonight? But it is great fun, and it's great clean fun. I love being down at Broadway.
Oh yeah. Broadway is a very special tree. But if you're wanting to find like original music, you can go, there's the Bluebird, there's the Local, there's Live Oak. So there's not only just Broadway where you can hear people's actual singing voices, which are super powerful, but you can also hear the actual songwritings. And there's so many different places that you can go to that have a safe space for songwriters, especially like the listening room where you can see all of the writers behind like those amazing people that like Lainey Wilson and Taylor Swift. You can see some of those people that have written music for her, or you can see the next new independent artist who might get big one day. And it's really such a cool place, and you can see different aspects of music, which is really
I
cool.
love that. I love the behind the scenes stuff. Like you should show us some of that. Like you should like
Yeah.
go and show us some of the stuff that we don't know about that you have found those hidden gems so that, all of us chaos. What are we? Chaos?
Chaotix.
Chaotics. All of us
Yes.
chaotics can go, I want to go see that. I want to go in here and look at this thing. It's funny. So songwriting. So on the songs that you're writing right now, are you just writing for yourself or are you writing and submitting as well?
So I write for myself, but I don't mind writing for other people either. Writing for other people is a little bit trickier for me because I mainly focus on my emotions and my artistry, but I don't mind for writing for other people, especially pop and giving advice and feedback. I do submit to Sync. If you don't know what Sync is, it's basically like submitting your music to like movies and TV shows and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So I submit my music there, but I mainly focus on my writing. I have a team of people who write with me. I kind of found my people in Nashville that I like to write with, but I'm always open to finding other people because inclusivity matters. And I also want to, you never know who you can meet, who can become your best friend or can get you on a podcast or can
Right.
get
And
you
yeah,
like on
can
a
open a door
stage.
for you somewhere that you didn't even know the door was there.
Yeah. Yeah. So
That's
being
always
nice
interesting
and
to me.
having that Southern hospitality, which I've definitely learned, especially coming from St. Louis, really goes a long way.
I bet. I bet. Well, and that like growing up in the Midwest, like you were already aligned with some of the cultures and the values, so that when
Yeah.
going to
And
Nashville wasn't
St.
like
Louis, for sure, it's like, it's a very closed off place. And for me, it made me very like, I I was an introvert. Like it makes you very introverted because when people come up to you and say like hi from like a store, it's usually like what do you want? But now people when you come here, it's like hi, what do you want? Like actually, like you're actually being so sweet. Like
yeah.
they're actually being nice to you. So it's a very different culture. In St. Louis, it's just always busy. It's
Epic BDC is a proud sponsor of the Social Grenade podcast. Tune in.
get out of my way. It's kind of like the New York side of things,
Mm.
if that's like a better way to put it.
It's the
Just
bustling
because,
Missouri metropolis.
yes, but Missouri will always have a special place in my heart, especially for like my family and my friends. But um, Tennessee is my home for sure.
Yeah, it's lovely down there. I can see why you love it. So, what obstacles, Jenna, have you run into that you didn't foresee coming? Like you were like, "Oh, we're going to move here," and in my mind, it's all going to look like this, and then you're like, "Oh, I didn't know I needed to do that. Oh, I didn't know I needed to be that. Oh, I didn't know I needed to go here." Like, what are some
Yeah.
of those things?
There's so many, but the moving was the big one. Moving and coming down here and like trying to get yourself out of it, especially like we were talking about with being an introvert, you have to force yourself to be an extrovert because if you're not, then people aren't going to relate to you. You can't open the doors for anybody and
Right.
you can't let your audience in. So, getting out of my shell to be able to walk up to another artist and be like, hey, let's get coffee or something, that is a skill I had to learn. And especially if you're an introvert, you got to get out of that. You can be an
Right.
introvert at home, but you can't outside. So um, I learned that, and that took me a while to get out of. But now that I have gotten out of it, I'm now able to like give myself to you on a podcast and I can actually talk now. I felt like in St. Louis I wasn't a talkative person.
Right.
So that was one of them. Definitely, like I said, there's a lot of while there is a lot of good things that happen for artistry in Nashville, there's also the negative side. There's going to be people who are jealous. There's going to be people who want to take what you have. And there's just going to be some mean people.
I mean,
So
that's like third grade.
right,
That's
and
we've
it
already
does feel like high school all over again sometimes. It's stupid, but like you're gonna experience people being mean or jealous in any work environment, no matter if it is this artistry thing that I'm pursuing or whether it is like just being in business or being in the automotive industry. You're going to find anything there. So, trying to realize that you're your own person. And that's kind of what I focus on in my music, is saying, like, for example, my song Bitter Half is all about how somebody twisted my words and made me into something I'm not. But for me, I just accepted it and was like, okay, I'll be whatever you want me to be, but you're insane. So it's like, making fun of those emotions and making fun of people who are doing that to you. So there's a lot of rumors that'll be spread in Nashville because the artist community is so small. Everybody knows everybody. So there's that. And then there's also just trying to find your people, I would say. And your people are going to represent who you are. And if you don't have those people, people are going to be kind of sketchy and also not look up to you as an inspiration
right.
or not take you as seriously. And you have to surround yourself with good people. And if you have that gut feeling in yourself that's like, this doesn't feel right, then it's not. And you need to listen to that and surround yourself with people who actually care and who want to see you do well, who support you. I didn't have people a long time, about a year or two ago, that supported me as well. And I started to kind of cave myself in. But once I opened myself up to different opportunities and got rid of toxic people in my life, because I realized they weren't good for me, and I can send them with love, just not for me.
Right.
And surrounding myself with people who I now write with, whether they're my friends or whether they're now my co-writers, it's just like um, being with people who want to see you succeed is part of building any kind of business.
I agree. I had when my daughter was in, I want to say third or fourth grade, I don't remember which, and she was a pain in the ass in school. Like she wasn't disrespectful, or she didn't fight with people, but she was a disruptor. Like she disrupted all the time. I mean, I would get calls daily, and so in this, I didn't really know this was going on until like I had gone to open house. Okay.
Mhm.
And open house, Shasta was put in a study carrel. She was separated away from the class. Like she had to be over here. So we're like walking up, all the parents are walking up that night to greet the teacher and walk into the class. And she's smiling and being so charming. And then she looks up and she sees Shasta and her face goes,
Mm.
and I'm like, this isn't going to be good. And so we go in there and Shasta shows me her own little office that she has. And that's how she had framed it, was this is my office over here. And she didn't know that that was a punishment because she was disruptive. She just thought they built her own little office for whatever. She's an optimist at that time, apparently. And I knew that that woman was being horrible to her. And then I had like heard some other things from within the classroom. And I was like, I was considering pulling her out of that class and putting her with another teacher. And then I was like, nope, because outside of this environment, there's going to be bitches in life. They're going to be everywhere. And if she doesn't learn how to adapt in their environment, she'll never make it. And so I left her in that class that entire year and just let her learn how to work around people that didn't necessarily give her any favors whatsoever. And so to me, that was like so important. So I know, like for you, learning those lessons and going, look, that not everybody here is for me.
Mhm.
And being able to have that intuition to see it and now be able to recognize it and go, not so much here. I'm going to go put my energy over here where people do have my best interest at heart. People, and I do have their best interest at heart. I think that's a great lesson to have learned early on, especially if you're going to go into the wildfire of, music or entertainment of any way whatsoever. Like having that intuition and trusting it is gold.
Oh yeah, I agree. And I relate to your daughter actually. Like my teachers didn't really like me. I only had like one teacher that liked me, and it wasn't because I was a troublemaker, but because I didn't really talk. And I'd never had any friends in high school at all. I would sit by myself all the time during lunch, during study hall, literally everything, and just be with myself. And I was kind of like the oddball. So I definitely understand, but I knew that I didn't want to be friends with anybody at my school, especially going to an all-girl Catholic high school. There's a lot of cattiness.
That was the first word that came to my mind too. I'm like,
Oh
oh, the cat.
yeah. It's awful. And like and even though like I appreciate everything I learned from it and the school was beautiful, but I just knew that it wasn't my place to be there, and especially with the girls. And I think definitely learning that at a young age is very important, especially in high school, because now I found here that I'm not going to tolerate it.
Right. And that's
Yeah.
the cool thing too, like with Shasta, is that I'm glad that I let her stay in that environment. And high school was the same for her too, to the point where I think halfway through her senior year, I just called her principal at Christmas break and went, she's not coming back. I will put her through getting a GED or whatever, but we're not playing this game anymore.
Yeah.
And you won't stop this from happening. And I'm not going to keep allowing it. And he was like, you can't take her out. I'm like, I can do whatever I want. And this is what's going to happen. And he called me back like in 2 weeks and said,
The I'm a Car Chick podcast is a proud sponsor of the Social Grenade podcast. Listen now.
We've checked with all of her school credits that she has, and according to the state of Missouri, she has enough credits to graduate midterm. And then if she wants to walk with her class at the end of the year, then she can. So she doesn't have to take her GED. I'm like, well, look at you being a little problem solver. But it really did prepare her, all of that crap in high school really did prepare her for being in the automotive space as a woman in the automotive space. Because I'll tell you a little secret that a lot of people don't say out loud is that some of the older generation in the automotive space had to fight so hard for their position in the space, like in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, to even be able to be considered for any position other than something as a secretary, that they're mean. They are mean as hell. And so anybody younger coming on the scene right now that they have blazed the trail for, they're not always openly supportive of helping that person through the shit that they've already been through. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They're like an old car dog that like they're going to step on your neck. And we experienced this. I did, she did. We experienced this joining the automotive space. And luckily for her, like for me, I'm a little snotty about stuff, but for her, her resilience of growing up with all of that in her life already, like she does, it just bounces off of her and then she just moves on to whatever. It's very rare that she lets any of that even offend her. And she's a better person than I am in that because I'm wanting to fight all the time.
Good for her.
I know.
Always be a fighter. Always stand up for yourself.
I love it. So if you could give a bit of advice, and I know you're still newbie in this scene, if you could give advice to somebody who's 14 years old that's sitting at home right now and they've got their journal and they're writing songs and they're doing the thing and they just don't know, like, what should I keep doing and what should I quit wasting my time on?
That's such a good question, and I think that like it's going to be different for everyone. But I see myself when you say 14 years old, and the things that I wish that I was told is that you don't have to have your people right now. You don't have to know what you're doing. If you're writing songs, um, keep doing it and study other people's music. But learn also who you are. One of the things that I was told when I started singing is that you're going to start sounding like everybody else when you start mimicking people. But once you know actually how to sing, you'll discover your actual voice. And I feel like that's the same with songwriting. People are going to copy off of other people's songwriting, but once you start actually just writing your diary, then you're going to start sounding like you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think it's important to journal, whether that's on your phone or whether that is like on paper.
Right. So do you do it on your phone or on paper?
I personally like to do it on my phone.
Yeah.
Okay, I like to type my stuff out, but I'm trying to get better at writing. So trying to switch over a little bit. I have to, but
well, the cool thing about that is those handwritten pieces that are like in a journal somewhere are just gold down the road, right? They were written in your hand. They're crossed out of this word and that word, and you're rethinking the whole thing and moving this thing around. Like those things are gold because then you can see what your thought process was while you were doing that thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they may have extra verses in there. Like if you're doing it on your phone, you're going to back that thing out, whatever. But that verse that you backed out may have been gold for another song somewhere else.
Oh yeah, it's so weird because I do have diaries from when I was a kid and like I still have them. And like sometimes I'll go back and I'm like, "Oh my God, I was so freaking cringy." But like sometimes it gives you encouragement to keep going because you see how either low of a light of like in life you were or how like sad you were, maybe how happy you were, and it makes you think, wow, that younger version of me would be so proud of where I am today.
Right.
And I would have never thought that I would have been in Nashville. I had a whole plan for when I was a little kid, and it involved me going to New York, and I'm in Nashville, not anywhere near New York. So it's really cool to go back and see that, but it gives you like a lot of inspiration as well, especially when you're writing. And with my last EP, Icing on the Cake, which you probably have listened to on Spotify and everywhere, I wrote all of those songs from a place of doubt, and also just learning myself as a kid. They are all, again, real experiences that I had, but especially the song Icing on the Cake, the debut name of the EP, is about how I actually looked back in my journals, and it was when I was turning 19, and I was super scared to turn 19, and everyone's like, no, when you turn 21 is when you should like be excited, and like when you get there. And I was so nervous to turn 21 like I was when I was 19, and going back and seeing those emotions of how young I was and just seeing how my brain develops is so interesting. Especially in that song, I like to highlight the doubts and the fears, and how I felt when I was a kid.
Yeah. And then so many other people are going through that as well. And so, but don't have the words to put to it. And you've put the words to it. So then they can go, oh my God, she's singing my life right now.
Yeah.
And I know you're like, these are all my personal experiences, but there are a million people's personal experiences that are like so
Right.
similar that they've gone through, and it just works like a salve for their soul to go, oh my gosh, I'm not alone. Other
Yeah.
people feel like this.
And that's
Other
why you
people
write
go
from
through
a
this.
personal experience, because it's everyone else's.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
Jenna, I appreciate it. Tell us where everybody can find you.
You
I
can
know that
find me
everything is Jenna
anywhere.
K.
You can find
I
me
know.
anywhere at Jenna K Music. If you just look up Jenna K on like Spotify, Apple, whatever you have, you'll find me. You can check out my debut EP, Icing on the Cake. But in February, I will be releasing a new EP, and it's called Smart Sass, like I did say, and it's for anybody who's ready to scream their hearts out and rock on. So, if you're looking for something to scream and get angry to, make sure to stay tuned for that. But you can find me anywhere on socials at Jenna K Music.
And I'll drop all the links down below so you guys can click and go follow her, and then be ready in February whenever that EP drops, because I know we want to get massive downloads right off the bat to push Jenna's career where it needs to go, so that we can not have to be searching for her, so that she's in our news feed all the time. So remember to like, follow, share her stuff with people that you think that will resonate with, because that's how social media works, right? Share it so other people get to see it. It's not your dirty little secret. And I tell you, I didn't want to share Teddy Swims because I didn't want anybody else to love him as much as I did. And that was shame on me, but I did share it because I did love him so much too.
Don't
So,
gatekeep.
no gatekeeping the Teddy Swims for sure. And do not gatekeep the Jenna K. All right, folks, thank you for listening today. And hopefully you got something out of it, whether it's for your daughter, for your niece, for yourself, for future you. If you're younger watching this and you're like taking notes going, I need to probably play the ukulele and the guitar and the piano and all of the things that Jenna learned to play as well. And then some of you may not be musically inclined like that, but you can sing. And you're like, I can't figure out where my fingers go to play a little tiny guitar. Just keep at it and keep writing those songs, because the world needs songwriters out there. We don't need this mass-produced, AI-generated garbage. We need people talking about stuff from their real experiences. Thank you, Jenna.
Thank you so much.